What are the practical applications of E equals m over c squared? Well, I think it's endless, it's infinite, and it's wonderful. But the thing I want you to focus on at the moment is a simple question for psychologists. Inside the chamber here is the nasal chamber of the head. There's a thing called the episnoidal sinus, and it's a little flat plate that lies here on a flat plane below the eyes, between the nose, in between the nasal chamber. Go and look for it on YouTube and understand this particular little mechanism. It's a filigree of bone and blood vessels, and every single sense that we possess as a human being goes via the episnoidal sinus. It's all available, so all the information from experience can be collected on this one single little plate. And if you imagine that you're doing the nasal breathing, collecting information DNA, that is a decoder. Now, if it's a decoder, it's possible that the information that it's receiving could be mistranslated. Now, I'm pretty certain, and I say pretty certain, but not certain by any means, that the episnoidal sinus is associated with sexual gender identity, because it's the area of sexuality. It's the ultimate high, is the use of the natural high, is the use of this mechanism to feel real experience, really sensual, sexual type of experience. And I believe that it's associated with sexual identity. And so this idea that a psychologist can proclaim that someone born as a boy can call themselves as a girl, and we have to agree that that's a woman, and opposite, that someone born as a girl can be formed into a man, is false. It's false. It's a lie. Because here's the question, psychologists. Is the episnoidal sinus associated with sexual gender identity? If they say, we don't know, then my next question is, well, why are you experimenting on our children? So I want you to think about that. And the last thing I want you to do on the same issue is look at Putin's speech from April 21, because this is the path to peace. Putin is a ruthless robber baron who's been made chief of the robber barons of Russia, and their princely fiefdoms is how Russia's always been set up. At the moment, what's risen to the top is these oligarchs that have been created themselves. It's the system has created this model, but it's just the barons and the robber baron. Now, the barons have told Putin, we are not having our children experimented on, and I insist that you stand there and say it as loud as possible. And on this issue, I agree with Mr. Putin. And therefore, I believe that if we can fix this issue in the West and really understand that the psychologists are lying to us and that they've taken steps, they've overreached their brief so far because nobody's holding them in check. There's no democratic control of the instructions that are given to psychologists. So I'm just putting that to you as a piece of information that I want you to think about really hard, because it's confusing people about woke. Now, woke means you're anti-racist, that you're pro-human, you're equal, you want kindness, peace, love. It means you're awake. But the machine has found a way of chucking that issue into woke to muddle it entirely into your heads. So you can separate the trans issue now entirely and put it over there as a lie that psychology's told you, and now look at the other stuff and go, yes, well, we're happy that women and women can love each other and men can love each other, because the choice that you make is the whole point. If you are feeling something in here that's giving you a sexual feeling, you have a choice on whether you act on it or not. And that the whole education system should be around understanding this mechanism and the choices that lie behind it. And you can make good choices or bad choices. And so if someone wants to express themselves, a man wants to express himself in a dress with a wig and makeup and look as pretty as possible, then I'd say, go on, my friends. Grasp that opportunity and shine like a diamond. Yeah? Be not afraid. And go out dancing and have a good time. And why not? But don't expect me to think that that's a woman, because there is a very clear difference. And the hounding of J.K. Rowling has been the shame of this country, because such a wonderful woman, and so she wrote an essay that was extremely well argued about what her concerns were. It was as gentle, as kind as she could possibly be. And what was the cry at the end of it? Tough! Tough, transphobe! shut down the debate. You're not allowed to say it. But I'm saying it. And there's a clear, obvious difference. A woman goes through metamorphoses throughout her life. The biology of a woman goes through a change at a young age of puberty. It's a tremendously traumatic experience in terms of the changes to the body that happens to them, to girls. And it's happening to girls who are like 9 years old, 10 years old. It's happening very common at this range. So imagine that you're 9 years old and your body has changed like this and nobody's understanding this episnoidal sinus and you're being told all this nonsense. You've got to try and grow up in a world of the patriarchy as a woman, as a young girl who's had this massive change to her body. And then they can give birth to children. They can. And their bodies go through this incredible change. And they produce a miracle. And then they'll go through the change at the end of their life as they cease to be, their body can't be fertile anymore, so it changes again. And all these other changes occur. And that's the journey of the female. It's tough. The male chassis is a piece of piss. Yeah? That's all we've got to worry about. Well, who gives a fuck? Yeah? I want to live in a world where the needs of women who have biological female needs are catered for as the primary objective of the society. And that men understand that they're lucky and that they rein it in and that they put the women first. And that the words love and cherish are enshrined in our constitution somewhere, because it's enshrined in my constitution in the Free State of Fun and Taff, where I love and cherish the females of my species, the women. So think on about this, please. You're living in a country where an organisation that was directly accused in print of systemically empowering rapists is arresting people 6 weeks later for wearing brightly coloured t-shirts and waving a placard. Fuck you, UK government. Fuck you. You are illegitimate. And I challenge your authority with all the might of God's law in my heart that I can. Do your worst. And join me. The rest of you, join me. Fight back. I'm free. Push me to the top. I will fight your fight. I will say what you want to say. I want to take control of this country because I want peace. I want Great Britain. I want us to rise like a democratic flower from this cesspit of evil that we've created in this world. And the world looks to us for leadership. Know this. The Chartists, the peasant revolts, we in this country set the political agenda for the globe. And make no mistake, that is still the case now, because our unwritten constitution is our jewel, because the unwritten constitution resides in consciousness. If we give permission to behaviours, that permission, that is then in the is in the constitution, in the consciousness. If we choose to remove it, it is no longer there. We do not allow this permission. We do not give you permission for this behaviour anymore. And I do not give you permission to let people drown in the fucking tunnel. Great Britain wouldn't do that. 0 suicides so far, still going well. Love rules, do the work, choose.